Welcome to Lift Your Leg. This is Monique Anstey from the Naughty Dog in Victoria, BC, author of As a Dog Thinketh.
And Jill Brown from Calgary, Alberta, the Bag Lady.
I was thinking about you making fun of how I say my last name last week. And it's because when I read the show notes, you should see the versions it comes up with of my name from how I pronounced it. That's why. Would you like to know tonight's topic, Jill?
Oh, sure. Why not tell me 30 seconds before we're doing it? Sure.
We're doing it now. You're currently being recorded.
Right.
Last week, we were talking about ways to build relationships. And I said off-leash hikes. And you said no. And I want to talk about off-leash hikes and why they do build a relationship.
Okay.
That's it. That's all I got. Yeah. I'm going to persuade you otherwise.
That's fine.
So let's talk about building relationships, because you said that should be a podcast unto itself.
Did I?
Yes.
I said that last week. All right. I think my argument there was because I didn't think that just doing off-leash hikes builds a relationship. You can do that with any dog. I think you have to have a relationship before doing the off-leash hikes, and then you can build on it.
But I started with my board and trains quite early. Like Leppy, I took him day 2. And he was known to run away. And on day 2, I took him. But because he was naturally a runner, as in spent a night at the dog pound because he ran away, I took him on a bike. I find with a lot of those dogs that want to run away, really, they just want to run. If you can keep up with them, they'll happily run with you. They're not looking to get away from you. They just need to run. Took him on a bike on day 2, and he was super.
I think it's a bit of a dangerous topic because you're educated enough to know what dogs you can do that with and what to do with them. And I fear that people will say, oh, my husky wants to run away. I'm just going to take him into the forest and bike with him.
Okay, true. But I think huskies off-leash period are running away from, because that's actually what they've been bred to do.
Yes.
A line on them to keep them going with you. Yeah. But my Mexican rescues, all of those ones, I'm taking them out with me on a bike. Now, I'm not saying people should be doing that, but it's how I have been training them for years, is by giving them that freedom and making them choose to follow me, because I need those dogs to follow me.
And I agree with you. And I do believe that it builds a relationship, but I just don't want people to think that's all you need to do. You're doing so much more with them around the house too. Even in Leppy's case, when he came to you, he didn't have a relationship with anybody. And the little things you were doing around the house, I think, were enough to make him realize that things are going to be different with you.
Not by day 2, though, when I took him. I think it was when I gave him that off-leash freedom was when things started to change. That's what made him start to trust me a little bit. So let's expand on that. Remember our day trip where I wanted to find the marble shrine in the forest?
Mm-hmm.
So
the one that took us 3 minutes to find after looking for it for a day?
Yes, exactly.
Gotcha.
I had actually spent a couple of weeks trying to find this marble shrine, on and off each day, going somewhere new, trying to find it. All I knew, it was close to a lake and close to the marble quarry. What's the word? Thank you. That was painful. It was close to the marble quarry and close to the lake. That was the details that I had to go and find it. So I covered a lot of ground trying to find that stupid thing. But then I dragged Jill and Brian out with me one day and all the dogs.
And all the
And
mosquitoes.
and all the mosquitoes and bugs and holes in the ground. And yeah.
Yeah, it was great.
So we went hiking through the forest because you parked on this spur off the road and it was supposed to be a 2-minute walk in. Yeah, whatever. Well, actually, they were very right. If you park on the right spur.
Yes, and go the
If
right
you don't
direction.
park on the right spur, it's a 4-hour hike in.
Yeah.
So we're looking in this forest, but because we're looking for like a marble shrine, we're doing more like treasure hunt hike than we actually are. We're going somewhere hike. We were going up and over logs, down like embankments, and our dogs were following us. Like they just stuck with us. They would circle around us and go far, but they always knew where we were and they were always coming with us because we weren't going in a straight line on a mission. We were going really, really weird directions. Anyhow, I do believe it's that type of adventuring that really builds this, where it's not a set, boring path. Like they need to pay attention to you and they don't know where you were going. I remember taking Leppy up north, and there was 2 occasions that this really came to bear. One was I went on a new hike that I'd never been on before, and it was noted to be a good hike. So we went on this hike, and as I get close to the ocean, it's never a good thing when you start seeing ropes. So I get to the rope, and it's like a drop down. And Leppy's like, down he went. He was gone. So, okay, too late now. Guess I have to follow him. So I went down, went to the beach. It was a fantastic beach. But now we have to get up.
Oh, God.
And so these dogs literally have to learn to follow me through fire. Like we need to go down. We also need to come back up. And none of them had a problem with it. But I was a little concerned about Leppy if he needed help up and that. How weird was he going to be? But he said he had it. It wasn't an issue. So that was one time. Then there was another time up north. I was researching another trail I wanted to go on, and it looked like a really fun way to go. So I drove in, I get to my remote forest and do my bike ride with, I think I had 6 or 7 dogs. Like I had a ridiculous number of dogs. And it's early morning, so I'm not too worried. So we get going. And then before we know it, I'm going underneath a highway and I'm now in a city.
Oh, God.
And I have all these dogs. So I'm now like going along a road and here's Leppy like trotting along beside me. I'm going past cars and I'm like, where am I? This wasn't supposed to happen. I'm supposed to be in a remote forest. Anyhow, we hit the most beautiful estuary. We ended up in Port Hardy. It was really cool. But here I have this dog, this feral Mexican that's scared of the world. And he's following me like under a highway. We're going along a road, like there's cars, there's people. He looked like he was just a normal dog because he's at that moment in time, he had learned to follow me through fire, like quite literally. And I remember one point I had to leash them all up and somebody was stopping to talk to me and commenting on how beautifully well-trained Leppy was. I'm like, thanks.
He put on a good show.
In that moment, he did.
Now, on these hikes that you were doing with Leppy,
yeah.
You always had other dogs with you.
At the beginning, no. Hang on, let me think about this. The first time I took him bike riding, I think I had him alone. I probably would have taken Pippa, but I can't remember Pippa being there. I think I took him alone.
I bet you didn't go without Pippa. And I think in his case, I think having the other dogs there would have made a huge difference because he was a street dog. He was used to having a pack around him.
And I often will take dogs with me, but it does depend on the dog, why they're here for board and train. what their issues are. And the reason I don't think I had my dogs with me, Jill, was because I ran into a dog walker who let her group chase Leppy. And I was ready to throw darts at her. I was so mad. I hit one of her dogs with my bike because it was going to bite Leppy. And then it chased him off. Here I have this feral dog, and I was being chased away by 2 or 3 of her nasty dogs. It was terrible. But then again, I was able to just catch up to him. I zoomed past him and he kept following me. So that's why I don't think I had any of my dogs. I think it was just him and I. I must have. I can't remember. So one of the things Scott and Fuller had said in their book many years ago, do you remember what the book was called?
Nope.
Was it Social Genetics? Why I'm even attempting to guess the title, I have no idea. Scott and Fuller had this giant, thick book, which Clarence Pfaffenberger wrote his book from. I'm going to see if I can look up the title. But anyhow, in there, he was talking about the trainability of guide dogs. And one of the things they were looking for with the guide dogs was the ability to follow. And there's a reason for that. And then I was also thinking back to the Volhard puppy test. There's a reason we get all the puppies to follow us in a puppy test too. It's because it's showing trainability.
Mm-hmm.
What did you just drink? We all heard it.
Nothing. Wine.
Oh my goodness. Genetics and the social behavior of the dog.
Well,
What did I say the book was called?
Cats Run Up Trees.
I was close. I remember the word genetics and I think social.
Yeah, it was close, yes. I'll give you that. I don't remember what it was exactly.
I can't either. And this book was published in 1965. However, having said that, it's the most boring book you'll ever read. But there's a lot of good stuff in there. It's a book worth reading.
If you can get through it.
If you can get through it and give up a week of your life to try and get there. If you want to cheat and get the condensed version, then read Clarence Pfaffenberger's book, which was... Have you read that one?
No. Is it PF?
Yeah. The New Knowledge of Dog Behavior. And it's on Amazon for $25. New Knowledge of Dog Behavior. So Clarence in his book breaks down a lot of Scott and Fuller's information into a much more enjoyable read. You might want to spend the $25 to Clarence versus Scott and Fuller.
That'll make them happy.
It was in there, he was talking about the value of puppies following and it's showing trainability. And I think that's where I learned this from. Then even if you're going back to Keeler, like that old style of dog training, it was about the dog following you on a long line.
Yeah. It's a key part for sure. A dog's willingness to follow you. If they just take off on their own, it's a little too independent for me. They don't need me.
Can you train that out of a totally independent dog? Yeah. Yes, you can. Because I remember back when I was very, very green, I used to raise Siberian Huskies for somebody. So I would get their puppies at 5 weeks old and raise them till 7 weeks. That was really fun to do. And one of the last litters I did for her, she was so annoyed at the litter because they always wanted to be with her. So yeah, you can change it, but it's knowing how.
When you sent them back, they wanted to be with her?
Yes, they kept getting underfoot.
Huh.
I guess that's why you get a Siberian Husky, right?
Yeah, most people get them because they want some independence.
Exactly.
They don't want a needy dog.
Last week I mentioned like one of my Borden trains. I was excited this week to see how she came back because I'd been struggling with this dog. And I've had the most amazing week with her. and I've made huge progress with her. And I'm so proud of this dog. I'm actually super proud of all 3 of my board and trains this week. I've made huge progress with all of them. And I've done formal training with them, but very little this week. And mostly what we have done is we have hung out. We have hung out with these dogs. We have hung out with day school. It's just been hanging out like, here, let's trim this hedge. Okay, let's go plant this raspberry. Now we're going to plant some strawberries. Let's go over here and clean up this area. So I've just been working in the garden. And then randomly, I might sit with them, tickle someone. When I began doing this, the 3 of them didn't like to hang together. So they were getting along, but there was a little bit of tension there underneath. And I think it was by Wednesday, all 3 of them were galloping circles in the lawn, chasing each other. And then they'd be civilized again and come lie down. Then someone would go off and do something silly again. They were going together to explore the islands, pulling sticks out the pond, that kind of stuff. It was so wonderful watching them. So all 3 of these dogs have never had a friend before. And it was just through hanging and yard work and just being out with them, just being, I guess is the thing to say, that they all just learned how to get along with their own species, including right down to if they had an argument not to go postal. Like I was trimming the hedge and I was in a very tight area, and it was Finn and my shepherd it was quite tight in there together, and one of them grumbled, but it was such a low calculated grumble and so controlled. I shouldn't say such a low, because that's not necessarily a good thing. It was a minor grumble. That's what I meant to say. Very controlled. And the other dog left. Like, thanks. That's what it's supposed to be like. You don't have to go postal because someone growled at you. You can just walk away and give them a little bit of space and come back a second later, which is exactly what happened. So that's what these dogs have all learned this week, just by hanging out and chilling and following me around the yard.
Nice. They're learning good life lessons, and you're getting to garden.
So this made me think of back when with Squizzle. You always used to come out here, we'd train, we'd do stuff. And I don't think Sizzle fully changed until you and I went up north to Port Alice. Did she?
That was probably her big change, when she was just, like, it wasn't just training time together. She was getting time to just hang out with other dogs.
But I think the difference up north versus down here is the amount of opportunities that we can take these dogs and make them follow us. Like walking from our house to the marina, through the park, through the stores, off through the church, then up to the forest and around the dike or wherever else we choose to go. Like we can take them through the entire town off leash.
Yep.
And we just can't do that down here. Like
you can't really do it anywhere.
Except for Port Alice.
Or, yeah, if you can find a tiny little town with a population of 800, then 200. You can probably get away with it. It's 800. I had to look it up last year. Almost 800.
Really? Is that busy now?
Yeah, I think it was 780, something like that.
Wow.
Yeah. But yeah, small town where there's not people whipping through in cars going 80 miles an hour, and not so many entitled people and not so many grumpy people. You can walk around with your dogs off leash if they're under control.
I think the other key to Port Alice is it's up north. So you're in true wildlife country, bears and cougars. I think they have the highest population of cougars in the world up north on the island.
Yeah, I think so.
So we're really talking cougars, not just, oh, maybe you'll see one. No, there's one back there in the garden. Look at it. It's more that way. So if you're taking your dog off, you better have a good recall. And most of the people there do for that very reason.
Yep.
or it's getting killed by something quite soon.
Yep.
So I had thought we talked about this at one point. It's the going through the marina and the parks and the people, like the opportunities that Port Alice presents totally changes dogs when they get to follow you through all of that.
Yep. Yeah. Right down to, like, when you think of the different footings, there's so many different changes of footing that they go through when we're walking.
Totally.
Yeah. The pier, the gravel, the wood bridges with holes in the slats that they shouldn't fall through.
And I think that you just hit on the key of what I haven't been saying. It's them having to problem solve and do difficulties without us helping them. That's the key to this that makes it so powerful. Like, we all just go as a group. But as we go as a group, there's going to be difficulties and challenges, and they just have to work it out. And they do.
Yep.
They learn how to problem solve, how to think on their feet.
It's hard for the people to learn to do that. At least it was for
Well,
me. It was really hard for me to stop helping my dogs.
I had written in my notes here, when we were up north, your paranoia lost its voice because you couldn't justify putting a leash on your dog anymore. Like, before, you always had a good excuse to call them back, to manage them. And suddenly all your excuses were gone. So you couldn't really justify it anymore.
Yeah.
And I think that's why the difference happened up there, is you were forced to give them the freedom that I'd been wanting you to give them.
Yeah. Well, it was safer up there.
Yeah. Down here, you looked legit. Like, yes, there is a car 300 meters away.
Yes, there is a cliff that goes down to the ocean that Sizzle's running towards full tilt. Yes, there's a metal pipe that we're hiking along that they could slip off of. Like, around you, there was a lot more things for me to legit be worried about.
I think those things are still up there. Not the cliffs.
Not the cliffs,
Not,
not the
yeah.
pipes. Those were the things, like things that were legitimately going to potentially really hurt my dogs.
Did I take you to my favorite mine up north? The old coal mine that's overgrown in the forest?
I think we found it the day that we thought we found the prison.
The prison.
Remember the remember the jumpsuit that was set up on a chair?
Yes.
We hiked there. I think we looked for I think we were looking for your coal mine there, but we
No,
didn't get up to
it's
it.
it's a different place entirely. I have to take you then.
No.
It's old.
Not when it came to mind when we were just talking about danger. No. No, there's a big hole in the ground. No, definitely not.
Oh dear.
No.
One of our places we found up north, it was another abandoned mine, but somebody was clearly living there, and they had set out their prison overalls.
And there were like little solar lights that were skulls or something like that. Like it was, they had some creepy little things around this. It looked like a little shrine. That one had
You
a
know
hole in
what?
the ground too, because remember Kate came close to it.
Yes.
Ah,
Jill tried to push her in.
I didn't that time.
What initials were on that prison jumpsuit? Was it a local prison? I remember we Googled it.
Yeah, it was CCI, something like that. We thought it was like Comox Correctional Institute or
Yes.
something like that.
Yes, you're right.
So,
Yes. Yeah, this is the kind of adventures we get up to, if anyone's wondered.
yeah, yeah,
We have nice remote places to walk our dogs with jumpsuits from prisons
yeah,
and people that probably shouldn't be living there.
yeah. Tents you come across.
But then we also have Harry and Johnny, so whatever.
Yeah. Safe
Oh,
walking with
dear.
them. What else?
Prada-wise,
Hmm.
Prada is your first dog that's been raised this way right from the start. Am I correct?
Having that kind of freedom.
Having that kind of freedom from the start and then coming back never being an issue.
Punch was to a degree. We didn't have the access that you have, but I back then there were areas around me where I could go and
Ah,
she could go off leash. Hi, Brian.
I have headphones on. He can't hear you.
Yes, Punch. Yeah, Punch was getting there and never had an issue with her coming back. But Punch's breeder, Galen's, one of the things that they teach their puppy people is to do woods walks
Oh, cool.
and hide on the puppies.
Okay.
Not far away from them, but if the puppy gets 10, 15 feet ahead of you, step behind a tree and
Yeah.
make the puppy actually have to look for you. And if they get into a bit of a panic, don't step out yet. If you need to, you need to, obviously. And then when they do find you, you make a big deal about it. And it's hard for new puppy owners to do that with their puppies, but it makes a huge difference because they rate from when they start doing woods walks, they do them at, I think, 5.5 weeks. 5.5 weeks they start. And they go out every few days with the whole group of dogs and mama. So the puppies have mum with them for the first while, and then it's just people, and the puppies learn to pay attention.
At 5.5 weeks, wouldn't that make the puppies quite needy?
No, because they've got mum out there. So they're really following mum through the woods at that point. They're not getting very far from her.
So you're not hiding on them at that age?
No, no, not at that age. When they're,
Oh,
I think probably, I don't even know if they do it as woods, as group woods walks, the hiding. I think that's when you take your puppy home and you're out
yeah, yeah,
walking with it alone.
yeah.
That was a lot of years ago. I can't remember all of the things, but I loved the fact that they were out going through the woods and learning their bodies and how to use their feet and climbing over things. And
It's something I see so much is missing in city dogs.
yeah,
They don't know how to use their feet and correct their feet if they step into a hole
yeah,
or if they step on a twig. So if they find themselves like off balance with one foot not landing where it was supposed to, they don't have the ability to correct the same as a dog who's been raised on unequal surface. I remember when we got Charlie Malinois, she'd come from a city, and Charlie had no idea what a river was or how to go down a hill. All she was used to was sports fields. So I take her in the forest. She had no idea what to do, like going over a tree, down into a stream, uneven terrain. Like she was just lost by it.
yeah. I mean, it's something they have to learn. Got to learn how to use their bodies.
Odd though, right? When you think a dog's never even learned to walk on uneven ground. Having
Yeah,
said that, though, when you and I are training dogs, because you're used to healing in an indoor building
yeah.
and I'm used to healing in an outdoor field, your feet aren't very steady when we stick you in my situation.
No, I hate it. I hate trying
Yeah.
to heal on grass. Yep. Yeah.
Interesting. What else improves your relationship? I do believe that off-leash hiking and getting them to follow you through, not through boring paths and dog parks, but through fun places and adventures, it changes your relationship with your dogs because they just literally learn to follow you through fire. And that's what they need to learn. Once they know to follow you anywhere, you're off to the races.
Yep.
When you can stay at home and hang out with all the dogs and never close your gate,
Yeah. And
that's
know
the thing.
they're not going to disappear.
Yes, that's
Yeah.
the thing right there.
It's funny because I live in the city and in a community that has a ton of dogs. And there's a local community Facebook group, and I can't even begin to tell you how many times a day people are posting pictures of dogs that are out running loose. And quite often it's the same dogs, which gets my hackles up because I'm like, it's the same dog. Fix your fence. But I could leave my gates open and my dogs wouldn't go anywhere. They don't want to.
Yeah.
But the number of dogs that have the opportunity, the gates open and they're like booking it. I'm gone.
I remember when we first bought Port Alice before the fences were all up, we had the front fence done quick because there's a main road there, but the side fences weren't yet done. And I remember, the front fence is done, walking my dogs. And I look up and there was Kate and Pippa looking at me from my neighbor's balcony.
Jeez. Oh,
No, girls, this way. That isn't yours. Mine aren't always perfect. We didn't have one of the side fences up for quite some time. And it was pouring rain. It wasn't a pleasant day. So why Kate chose this day, who knows? But she decided to go over the stream where the fence was supposed to be, but was not yet, to the neighbors and rifle through their recycling bin. And when I got her back, she was so wet. She was soaked to the bone and happy because she'd rifled through their recycling bin.
my bad.
Rotten Kate. That was a younger Kate. That was like 6 years ago now.
Yeah.
Yeah, much younger. Naughty lady then. Rotten Kate. All right, so what else do we need to do to fix our relationships with our dogs? Or to improve our relationships? It's the biggest piece. It really is the biggest piece. And I don't think people realize it until they have the ability to do it. And then they will see the giant difference in their dogs.
Yeah.
It's one of those.
Being genuine. That was the one that
Yes.
I said last week. In both your praise and
Yep.
your not necessarily corrections, but
you have to add new stuff, though. You can't just repeat what we said last week.
I know, but I think we kind of hit on everything last week.
You can expand on it. We didn't. We didn't cover the off-leash part at all.
Huh.
I actually think if it's a new dog to you, sleeping in your bed is huge.
Yeah.
If it's a strong dog, I'm not going to let them stay there. But Fika is still in ours. Barking little Fika. She's sound asleep at my feet saying she would never bark. It's a lie, she would. Fika, what does the girl say? Fika, what's the girl say? Fika, what's the girl say? What's the girl say? Yeah, good girl. It was a very quiet one. She was sound asleep. Good girl, like, darling.
Just don't wake me up.
I know, she was quite willing. She's always willing for fun. She looks disappointed I didn't stand up from my chair. Good girl, darling. You're such a good lady. Hiking, sleeping in bed. And I think it's letting them make a whole lot of choices of their own, but then overriding if it's the wrong choice. Rather than giving them commands in advance, let them make their own choices.
Yeah. Yeah. Let them figure things out. If you need to step in, then step in, but let them use their own head.
Which was my week with my board and trains. I let them work stuff out. I was there to guide if they were going to mess it up, but otherwise I left them be and hoped they could make the right choices. And with my Muddy Junior, it was the first day of day school. I earned all of my money that day, and I earned the alcohol I drank that evening. It required my 30 plus years of skill to get Finn through Tuesday successfully and everyone else through Tuesday successfully with him. So Tuesday was skill required, like truly. But then Wednesday was so wonderful, and Thursday was so wonderful, and Friday's been so wonderful. So worth it. So worth it.
And they're with you over the weekend?
They are. Yep.
Yeah.
This morning we got to go hiking off away from home. So it was the three of them, their first time off leash away from my fenced area. And it was cool. Like, my shepherd was a little bit nervous going to a new place at the beginning and then loved it. Finn, Muddy Jr., barked for joy, like sheer joy. And he was so happy to be off leash somewhere. And then he couldn't believe he was with the other dogs and then started getting silly with Bosco. It was really sweet. And then my Pitweiler was being quite strong and pushy with me at the beginning of his walk. And then realized, you're free, buddy. Go enjoy this time. So he did. And I'm going to say about 50 minutes in, he just started galloping circles.
The joy kicked in.
The joy kicked in. And then I'd kind of like, yeah, go, buddy. And pump up my arm, and he'd run for me and then deke away and go do another circle. So I let him do that probably for about 6 minutes. And then when Muddy Jr. decided he was going to join in, I let him for a little bit with him. So they did a couple of laps together. And then I thought, this doesn't feel quite right. Let's simmer it down a little.
Things are getting a little too amped.
Who would like a cookie? Come here. So I simmered down my Rottweiler and then let them go again.
I always wonder what people think if they're watching what we're doing when we're out with our dogs and we don't realize they're there. Like just the antics of, like you said, you're pumping your arms, and I'm doing like, I'll try to sneak up on my dogs, but they're actually looking right at me. And then they elevate and come running after me. I don't know.
I think people would probably laugh at us. Like genuine laugh. Find it quite entertaining to watch us.
I agree. And I hope that they see the joy on both sides. And then I hope that it makes them go, I need to do more of that with my dog.
I think some of the curmudgeons would think, why isn't that dog walking behind her on a loose leash?
Exactly.
They're going to cause issues by letting it have fun like that.
Yeah. That dog should be on a leash as it's right beside you playing and interacting with you.
Right?
Yeah.
I know. Yeah. Yeah, it was very cool seeing them. But I was fascinated by my German Shepherd taking her to that new situation with dogs she knows and likes now. How it made her hackly and a bit unsure just being in that new spot with them. But it was almost like she was a bit surreal of, seriously, I can just go.
I was going to say is probably because she's
dogs here.
Yeah. She's actually
yes,
off
don't
leash.
Eat them, dear. Yep. And she was super good. She was so good. She just had that look of uncertainty and shock at the beginning.
Or maybe she smelled the cougar in the bushes.
It's not funny.
I'm not trying to be funny. It could be legit.
No one else said anything. Finn said plenty, but he never indicated a cougar in any way.
Okay. Just trying to think of the things I've changed with mine over the years where I've seen an improvement in my relationship with them. I think taking them a bunch of places with you, whether it's something that they actually get to do anything with or not, like just going with you to the corner store or on errands and stuff.
Just Bosco today came with me to buy some trees.
There you go.
And then as I bought my 2 trees, I could feel him want to get fresh with the guy I was talking to. It's funny because I'm buying trees, so I'm in a nursery. And it's clearly domesticated. In no way am I out the forest, Bosco. You can simmer down, honey. This guy is supposed to be walking towards me right now. But I could feel him I could feel his angst as the guy walked towards us. What I find fascinating about him is He doesn't know how to manage it. He only knows how to manage it by walking away. He doesn't know how to manage it in a functional way. I think that's my homework for tomorrow. I need to teach him a nicer way.
Yeah.
So when he's if he was off leash, he would have walked away. But because he was on leash, he couldn't walk away. So I could feel him build a little bit. But when I say a little bit, I don't know if anyone else would feel it. It was so subtle. It was so subtle. I just put my hand closer to the clasp of his leash and continued my conversation. So nothing happened, but I could feel his intensity change a little bit.
Yeah.
But it was nothing major, but he did change. Just by a guy walking over to talk to me.
Yeah. Interesting.
And this guy was so awkward talking to me. And I was thinking, like, I've known this guy for years. Like, why is he so awkward all of a sudden? And then I looked down on my right-hand side and thought, that's why.
Yeah. He was picking up on
scared
him
of
too.
you.
Yeah.
He's scared of you, buddy.
A Pitweiler?
Yes.
Yeah.
He's so cool. This dog is literally 50-50.
Really?
You can see he's 50% Pitbull and 50% Rottweiler. Like, he is exactly that. He's got Rottweiler coloring, Pitbull ears, half a Pitbull head, half a Rottweiler head, half a Pitbull body, half a Rottweiler body, and half a Pitbull personality and half a Rottweiler personality. He's the coolest thing ever.
That's funny.
Because normally when you get a cross like that, it's predominantly one breed or the other, and they behave like the breed that they look like.
Yeah.
But not with him. He literally is a 50-50. And I don't think I've ever worked with a dog before that literally was so 50-50.
That's interesting.
Yeah, he's a fascinating dog. He really is. So yes, I agree. It's just living our daily lives with us. So it's not the formal training. It's just going and being. And not being micromanaged.
Yeah.
Like, we did loose leash walking as I was shopping for my trees. Then they had to help me plant them. And then other people were over here and they still had to help me plant them. But just that doing activities together. I think it's just moving together as a pack and doing stuff together.
Yeah. Yep.
Good point, Jill, about doing activities together. I agree.
Although it does come to bite you when every time you try to leave the house, they go running and stand in front of you.
Oh, Fika is terrible. And she can squirt out that door no matter what. She's just that right ankle height that you move your knee a little bit to step forward and she's gone.
She's a slippery little one.
She is. She is indeed. Yeah. Come up with something else because you're coming up with some really good things that I'm not thinking about.
I think I've just learned to enjoy my dogs more over the years.
I agree.
I always loved my dogs. The first number of dogs that I had, I always loved them, but they're just more a part of my day-to-day stuff now. Like just even being in the house.
And I think to add to that, we appreciate them for who they are. So even like my German Shepherd with her weirdnesses, like when I see her getting weird, like today with her hackles in the field, I laughed at her and go on, silly. And she just perked up and went. That was it.
Yeah.
I love her for who she is. So I'm not taking this stuff seriously. Like it doesn't scare me or anything like that. In this case, there's nothing to be scared of, but
yeah,
I understand it. It doesn't faze me. So I can be lighthearted about it. And it's that lightheartedness that she needs from me to then be able to cope with stuff.
Yep. I remember my sister once saying to me when Sizzle was younger and weirder, and we were out walking, and she did something that had me annoyed. And my sister was like, "But that's who she is."
Yeah.
And my sister loves the dogs, but she's not like a big dog person. But she just, they're a dog. That's who she is. But that's just Sizzle. There's nothing you're going to do to change that. And it was something that she was right. It was just part of her personality. And rather than me worrying and stressing about it, that's
When we
just her.
when we don't understand it, or if it scares us, we get annoyed by it.
Yep.
But once we understand it, we don't.
Yep.
Or we're no longer scared of it, then we don't. And that's then when they start to change, is when they're accepted.
Yeah.
And I would say my shepherd and my Pitweiler have very much benefited from that with me. I'm very matter of fact with them. And I don't really care. So that's changed things for the two of them. And my other one, he's more complex. He's actually been so fun to train because he's so different. He is, but he isn't. In some ways, he's naughtier than Muddy, but not as serious as Muddy. But he's shockingly naughty. Like on Tuesday, when I let him off with other dogs, he would hide under a tree and he'd hang there for 5 minutes. And then he'd dive bomb someone. So he wouldn't go with them right away. He'd just hang back. And I couldn't help but wonder if it was like an endo in the basement with people walking past his crate. Just hang till everyone's forgotten him and then make your move.
Yeah.
Or if he was assessing. But this isn't an assessing dog. This is a dog that's just in there. So I think it was more endo. He was waiting for me to forget, me to let my guard down so he could just dive bomb in. He's so funny.
It makes
And
me
I think
laugh when dogs have the ability to think about things like that. Like Johnny with his
yes,
log outside the door.
yes, yes,
They actually do things on purpose to get a rise out of you.
yes, yes. I agree. And I think it was the third time he dived bombed someone. And I laughed at him. And he honestly stepped back and he opened up his little mouth and looked at me and smiled back. And that was the last time he dive bombed. That was it. He's so funny. What an endearing dog. He's so funny, but so bad. Naughty, not bad.
This is your
Naughty,
another Mexican dog?
Yeah, yeah. This dog is such a character, Jill. You would love him. You would absolutely love him. And then I think my realization this week was my German Shepherd has been confusing to me in some ways. She didn't quite fit patterns as I know them. And I realized with her, pain is involved. So yesterday was the first day I saw her move fluidly. And when I saw her move like that, I'd been thinking this already, but when I saw her move like that yesterday, I'm like, oh, that's what she's capable of. She hasn't been doing that. And yesterday I would have to say was her best day she's had. But if there's no pain involved, of course it was.
Yeah.
And that's a hard one. Maybe it's not so hard. Medication can help with that.
Yeah. Yeah, pain can make a huge difference in the way dogs are acting or reacting.
Does with me.
Yeah, and me.
Yeah. This week's classes, I saw in my people. They were just crabby and not handling things as they normally would.
Yes, didn't somebody, maybe it was another friend, said something about Mercury's in retrograde?
It was Tracy who commented on my post.
Yeah, so yeah, you had commented as well. Maybe it's...
With Mercury being in retrograde, how long does that happen for, though? I didn't think that was like a 2-week thing, but maybe.
Honestly, I don't even know what that means. I've heard it before, but it doesn't mean anything to me.
Let's ask AI. Because I don't think Tracy answered me. Might be easier to text her than ask AI. How long? So, on a more positive swing of this conversation, Jill, what are you doing to keep your headspace clear? 3 weeks at a time, Mercury in retrograde.
What does it even mean, though? What is Mercury in retrograde?
All I can read is what AI told me. Mercury's in retrograde for about 3 weeks at a time, 3 to 4 times a year. During this period, it appears to move backwards in its orbit as observed from Earth. The exact duration can vary slightly, but it's typically around 21 days.
Ask it what it means.
I'm now, hang on, Miss Impatient. When Mercury is in retrograde, it's often associated with communication issues, misunderstandings, and delays. Astrologically, it's a time when people may experience confusion, travel disruptions, and challenges in technology. It's considered a period for reflection, reevaluation, and resolving past issues rather than starting new ventures. Many people use this time to revisit old ideas, projects, or relationships. However, not everyone believes in the effects of Mercury retrograde. It varies based on personality, beliefs, and experience. Thank you, Tracy. I think you're right.
Huh.
Interesting.
Well, yes.
What should I avoid during Mercury in retrograde?
People.
Starting new projects, signing contracts, making major purchases, travel plans, engaging in arguments, rushing decisions. Don't do any of that right now, Jill.
A bunch of those things were suggested when I came out of anesthesia after a procedure. Don't sign any contracts. Don't make any big purchases. It's like, oh, okay.
Oh, I'm sending you a photo of little Fika. She's so cute.
I could
All
see
right.
her ears.
Thank you, everybody, for listening to us. Please share us and like us and get other people listening to us.
Yes, get people fighting over the naughty dog page. So Monique can buy her product, her
dream property.
Her property.
My dream property is quite far away because to get any money out of Facebook, I have to make $25 a month, and I will need to cause a lot more controversy in order to make my $25 a month. So this might be a pipe dream. My average post is making like 37 cents.
Oh, geez. Yeah, you got to change something.
Or not. Just get a real job and not expect to get rich off of Facebook.
or that.
It does make you realize, though, like a typical post of mine is literally making 37 cents. So not going to be getting rich off of that because I have to actually make $25 to claim anything. Wow. And I think that $25 mark is beyond the ability of me to be able to make it. But it does make you realize how much the people that are causing so much controversy, why they are. Because they get paid for it, like literally.
Yep.
The more hatred they can create, the more it gets shared.
Yep.
And then the more they make. So my typical post, I'm at 37 cents. That one, I haven't checked it today, but it's probably close to $9 now. Versus my 37 cents of norm.
Oh boy, you have to start adding videos to your posts, and that will increase.
Only if it's of dogs doing things that they shouldn't be doing.
No, I have ideas for you.
And the only way I will add videos is if there's no way for that dog to get into trouble. I won't do it if it's a risk to anyone.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
I have ideas.
So that means I need to record now for 10 years from now.
Oh
I
boy.
can start. I've got time.
Can't can't you just like put a clown face on every dog's head so that nobody knows who's who?
But then you won't be able to read its body language and facial expression.
Facial expression you won't. That's true.
If we're talking about, one dear client said to me, "You've always told me if a dog is panting, it's safe." And she's right. I do say that. A panting dog is a safe dog. And that dog was panting. So how did we know she wasn't safe? It's a super question.
What dog are you talking about? That wasn't safe.
The
Oh, the
one, the
Ovcharka.
video one.
Yeah.
Yeah. And my answer was, the look on her face is almost one of expectation. Like, where are we going? What park are we going to?
Yeah.
Because she has no conflict with what she's about to do with me.
Yeah.
To
Yeah.
her, it's just, let's go to the park. Give me
Yeah.
my dinner.
Yeah. Give me your arm.
Yeah. Yeah. There's zero conflict there. She's just waiting.
Yeah. So the
Expectantly.
majority of dogs have a bit of a conflict if they're going to be doing something bad.
Yes. And that's
She,
where you're seeing the closed mouth and the warning signs.
yeah, she had no conflict with it at all, which makes her even more dangerous.
Yeah.
Yikes.
Yeah. But super question.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you for listening to me, Jill, or talking to me.
All right. I'll
Good
talk
night.
to you
Enjoy your
later.
Friday.
I
Thank
will.
you.
See you next Tuesday.
Bye.
Bye.